So we're going to move forward with congruent triangles and how to actually prove that triangles are congruent. What we've done for the last week or so was how to work with congruent triangles, what it meant for triangles to be congruent. And the big thing I want you to take away from this today is you don't have to know all the pieces of one triangle are congruent to all the pieces of another triangle to be able to tell me that they are congruent. What I'm needing you to do over the course of this week is to be able to look at a triangle and say, yep, I've got enough information here to know if they're congruent. And there's going to be 4 congruences that we're going to deal with this week. We're going to start with 2 of them today, and I think that they're the easiest ones to spot. What you're going to be looking for are markings on the pictures. Okay, I'm going to give you a pair of triangles. It's going to have some sides and angles marked, and you have to decide if that's enough information to say yes, they're congruent, or no, either they're not congruent or you don't have enough information. So the first congruence is called the side congruence. It's going to be abbreviated SSS. You don't have to write out side every single time. So SSS congruence basically says if you can show me the 3 sides of one triangle are congruent to the 3 sides of another triangle, that's enough to force everything else to lock into place. So knowing the 3 sides of triangle ABC are congruent to the 3 sides of triangle EFD, that's enough to say, hey, those triangles are congruent by side. Now we're going to go back tomorrow and talk about how to name these things, but for now I need you to look at this and recognize that that's congruent by side. All right, the second congruence, real quick, we need a definition here. You need to know what something called an included angle looks like. So an included angle, and this is like the super fast definition, if I know a pair of sides, if I have like a pair of sides that have been identified, the included angle is the angle that is made by those 2 particular sides. So for what I just drew, angle Y is the included angle for the 2 sides that were marked. Now, if it were to be something like, angle X over here, X is not the included side. It has to physically be sandwiched between the 2 sides that I have that are marked. Okay, so the next congruence is called the side congruence. And if you notice, this angle, the letter A, is between the 2 S's. That's what your picture should look like. You should have 2 sides marked and the angle that is physically between those 2 sides, the one that's sandwiched between those 2 sides. So what I'm looking at over here in this picture is I have a side and the angle that's physically between those 2 sides. That's what the pictures are going to look like if they're set up for a side congruence. Okay, so these 2 triangles, since I have a side and a side angle side, those 2 triangles, even though they're rotated and they're not situated the same way, those triangles are congruent by side angle side. So what you've got to do is pay close attention to the pictures and where they are marked, because if this had not been marked here, say if this angle had been marked over here, those triangles wouldn't be congruent because the angles didn't correspond. So backing up to what it originally looked like, I've got 2 sides here, and the angle that is between each of those pairs of sides. Those triangles are going to be congruent by side angle side. So what I'm doing for you today, I'm going to just throw pictures of triangles at you, and you're going to tell me if they're congruent by side angle side, or if they're not congruent or you don't have enough information. So you've got 3 options on these. Okay, so one thing that you'll have to be on the lookout for are sides or angles that aren't necessarily marked. These are going to be the tricky ones. Now, these 2 triangles here, ABD and CBD, they're 2 triangles, but they have the same shared third side. So if you can kind of compartmentalize that and look at one triangle and then the other triangle, these guys are actually going to be congruent by side. And then I've got a pair of vertical angles here. Vertical angles are rarely marked. So when I look at these, I've got a side, an angle here in the middle, and a side. Same thing down here. Okay, even though that angle's not marked, these triangles are going to be congruent by side angle side. All right, so this is what your homework looks like. You've just got triangle after triangle after triangle, and you tell me yes or no. And if it's a yes, give me one of your reasons. So keep that in mind. You've got side, 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 or side, angle, side. There are other congruences, but today I want you to focus just on those two because I think they're the easiest ones to spot. So this pair of triangles on the left here, I've got JKM and LKM. There is a shared side here, right? MK is the same in both triangles, but if you notice when you look at it, you've got two sides, but this angle's over here. It's not the one up here between the sides. So these triangles, even though they share this side, they are not congruent because we don't have enough information. Okay? I got a pair of vertical angles here, and if you notice that angle that I just marked is between the two sides in each triangle. These guys are going to be congruent by side, angle, side. Okay? You've only got those two rules to look out for, and if it doesn't fit one of those, it doesn't work. Vertical angles, what's marked in the picture? One side, one angle. These guys are not congruent, or we don't have enough information. The pair on the right, that side FH is the same in both triangles, so I know all three sides in both triangles, these are congruent by side, side, side. Okay, I'm going to pick up the pace a little bit. Take a look at the picture on the left, see what you think. I've got two sides, angle, two sides, angle. The angle is between the sides. These are congruent by side, angle, side. Two sides and an angle, two sides and an angle. But if you notice, the position of this angle here and the position of this angle here, they don't correspond. This angle should have been marked up here if they're going to be congruent. So not congruent. It's an N, not an H. All right, same thing. What's in the picture? I've got a side and an angle in each triangle. There's generally a rule of three. You need three pieces of information for this to work. So these guys are not congruent, or we don't have enough information. Down in the bottom, I've got three angles marked, three angles marked. Angle, angle, angle is not one of our congruences. So these are not congruent, or we don't have enough information. That's it, guys. All I'm asking you to do is to pick side, 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 or side, angle, side, or not enough information. This is basically multiple choice today. We're going to get into what to do after that tomorrow.